Today is 914 day that I'm here to listen to learn. I'm learning how to support your dreams, your goals, allow you to become the person that you want to become. Today we speak about inputs. Inputs in your mind. This is one of the most important topics because every single day we have some kind of inputs in our mind, and those inputs will dictate what kind of ideas will come out of it. Because of course, if you garbage in, garbage out, everyone probably have heard this saying, garbage in, garbage out. So that means we really need to be very, very careful what we put in our minds. Now, a lot of times people understand that inputs is very, very important and are careful about their inputs. But what is sometimes even more important is controlling your inputs. So really, when you get those inputs, how do you use those inputs for the best possible, in the best possible way? So today we'll share multiple ideas, really, how not just really protect your mind and really how to control your inputs and how to really making sure that you have those inputs and controlling and directing those inputs in the best possible way. So number one is selective attention. Selective attention. This is a very, very powerful topic because when you think about really inputs, we have so many inputs coming in. Now we're able to be selective and focus on the most important people, on the most important ideas, on the most important inputs that really ignore the things that really doesn't work or doesn't add value. Because there's a saying that there's 100% of information, and our mind is able to and capable of focusing only on 3% of information that we gather. So what you focus on will dictate what kind of input you consciously put in your mind. This is such a powerful lesson that you are able to consciously choose what you focus on. And when you focus on the right things, you are able to put in your mind the right information. Very, very important to focus on the right things rather than the things that everything altogether. Number two is mindfulness meditation. This is very powerful. And this is when you speak about controlling the inputs. Now you gather a lot of information. And because we gather all information, sometimes we say, what do I need to do to put that information, those thoughts in the right order? Because if we have those thoughts, those ideas, and full of head, it's very hard to really have that clarity. Because having clear mind is very, very important. Because until you have clarity, decisions will be foggy. So, of course, one of the best way to really clear your mind, clear those inputs, to make sure that you put in the right positions, everything, is meditation. Because meditation, what it does that you're able to direct your thoughts. And if you direct your thoughts, that means you're able to direct your inputs. So that means when the idea come in, when the input come in, you're able to say, okay, this is what I need. No, this is I don't need it. Okay, let's push it out of my mind. Let's push it out of my thoughts that I do not take this in. Because a lot of times we get the thought, get input, and we can accept or deny it. And a lot of times if that thought is or input is not correct, we just deny it. Number three is cognitive restructuring. So it means when we able to really be very, very, very self-aware. So when we catch some kind of pattern of our thoughts, catch of triggers, of inputs. So that means we're able to catch it and say, okay, let's restructure. So when trigger happens, this is what I will think. When trigger happens, this I will do. So it means when I will be triggered, then I will do this. So restructuring the patterns for the best benefit is very, very important. So that means that if you do not like some kind of structure in your mind, when you get some inputs, you're able to work to restructure that. It will not be like one time and that's it all, but you're able to really consciously choose, manually restructure things. But self-awareness is one of the key parts of that. So that means you change negative patterns to positive ones by manually adjusting that and restructuring all the time. And after a while, you'll be able to make it automatically if you will do manually long enough. Number four is visualization. And this is very, very powerful things because a lot of times we are looking for input from outside to put in our mind. We're looking for input outside, so reading a book, listening to a seminar. But one of the best ways to sometimes develop your skill set is visualize you doing something. Developing a skill set. Because there is scientifically proved that when you visualize, you're actually able to improve the skill. Will not be as actually doing it, but will do improve your skill because your mind doesn't know the difference between visualizing and actually doing it. So visualization is one of the amazing inputs that you're able to do no matter what, no matter who you are. And that's why it's a lot of times when people visualize failing, they prepare to fail. But when you visualize winning, when you visualize succeeding, when you visualize improving your skill, of course, that input will work as a benefit to make sure that you're able to succeed in life. So visualization is amazing input that sometimes people forget. Number 5 is self-affirmations. This is a beautiful thing. I think that I didn't believe in self-affirmations for a long, long time. So like how you can really improve by affirming yourself, a skill set, or the things that you improve on. But when you really start to self-affirm and saying that over and over and over again, you build a routine in your mind that really helps you to make better choices. Because if you just keep repeating, just do it, just do it, just do it, just do it, and for every single day, so when you need to make a decision, you just program yourself to say, just do it. Exactly everything in life. When you really affirm on the skill set, when you affirm on the character, when you affirm on the feeling, your brains have a tendency to go to most familiar. And what is most familiar? The most practiced. The most practiced. And it means that affirmations could allow you to practice the thought, practice the emotion, practice the things that you want to see in your life. Very, very powerful. And this is, again, input that allows to develop your life. Number 6 is deep breathing. This is very interesting. Again, this is one of the things that I never believed in as well. And I really thought, okay, I will try the deep breathing. Okay, we'll see what is the benefits of deep breathing. And what found that is the most benefit of deep breathing is really disconnect from everything. Disconnect from everything and really focus on one thing and one thing only in breathing. Because it's almost impossible to think about something when you really actually do deep breathing techniques. You're not able to focus on anything else, just deep breathing. And then basically, that allows you to really focus on one thing at a time. And if you do that long enough, that means that your focus will improve. Because a lot of times we too scattered to really make things happen. But when you focus on one thing and one thing only, you're able to improve your productivity tenfold. So deep breathing is allowing you to learn how to focus on one thing and one thing only. And that's deep breathing, and then transfer the same skill set to other things that you really need to work on business, on skill sets. And of course, that will allow you to improve. So this is input that you're able to control. Because inputs, as I said, is as important to get inputs as after that is controlling inputs. And deep breathing is helping you that. Number 7 is distraction techniques. And that means that is a lot of times we need to understand that distraction is a beautiful word. A lot of times say that we distracted from success, or you can distract ourselves from negative thoughts. We're able to really say that how we could redirect my attention to something else. Distract those negative thoughts. That's a beautiful thing. So that means distraction could be a great thing if you redirect your negative thoughts, redirect your negative inputs, and you direct those inputs to something much more positive. Because at the end of the day, it's your choice how you're directing your inputs, how you're directing your ideas and thoughts. Very powerful. Number 8 is setting boundaries. And this is very, very interesting. That when we think about your inputs, boundaries is very, very important. For example, I say that I do not discuss politics. This is not a thing that at the moment I really want to speak about, so I have a boundary. If I hear that someone is arguing or discussing politics, I walk away. Because I just don't want to put into that input in my mind. There's so many much more important things that I'm able to control. Politics at the moment, I do not have control with it. And when I'm able to really work on myself, improve myself, work in the business, work on myself, improve myself, build more power, maybe I will have more interest into that. And that's a lot of time people do. They focus on themselves first before they go into other things. So really controlling, having boundaries. Maybe, for example, news. I don't want to speak about news as well because this is just negative things. So controlling your inputs by having boundaries, what you listen to, what kind of input could be given to you is very, very important. Number 9 is goal setting. And this is interesting inputs. It means that when you have really sitting down and being aware of what you want to become, who you want to become, and what kind of person you need to be to achieve your vision, this is an input in your mind. Because of clarity and direction. This is very, very important input. because this one input could really direct your life, direct your actions, because our inputs will dictate what kind of thoughts you have and what kind of actions you take to move forward. So goal setting is very important input in your mind to make sure that you're able to really understand, okay, where are we going now? Number 10, and this is probably one of the most important parts regarding the input, is gratitude practice. I didn't believe it all. This is one of the things that a lot of times I really try myself. I used to be one of the most negative person. I was able to really take any kind of input and make it negative. And probably gratitude practice was one of the most important things that really allowed me to transform the way how I look into things. Because I used to say 1,000 things what I'm grateful for at the beginning, and I truly trusted that it will change something. And I did 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 2 weeks, and it seemed that it doesn't help. But after 2 weeks, at some point, I started to see that my attitude started to change, my life started to change, because gratitude practice changed your inputs, and it changed your attitude, and that attitude changed your the brand. Because again, because my attitude changed, my career changed, my business changed, everything changed because I started to gratitude practice. It's very, very important. But again, we need to not supposed to say that, okay, we need to have that delayed gratification, because you're not supposed to have that instant gratification when I did 100 times I practice gratitude, now I'm supposed to have results. No, it will require some time, and it depends how long you were in a negative pattern and how long it will take to really build a positive pattern. So if you have been negative for 30 years, maybe it will require a couple of months until you'll be able to break out. And this is very, very important. Number 11 is limiting media consumption. This is a very, very important boundary that you need to set. So that means that when you think about limiting those media consumption, so what kind of media do you use? What kind of media you consume? And just say, I consume only for my business, or I consume only for personal growth, or what are the reasons that you consume? Or maybe able to shut out altogether to make sure that you learn how to use media only for the positive things. Because sometimes we can potentially fall back into, okay, I will use only for positive things, but then after that, you just fall back into that and you use just to numb your mind. Because media consumption is a lot of times very easy to fall into because it numbs your mind and it's hard to really come out of it. So very, very important. Number 12 is positive self-talk. To really encourage yourself, because sometimes I know that people have people that really encourage them, pat on the shoulder, or sometimes you need to be your best encourager. So encourage yourself, support yourself, and really speak, so really have that positive self-talk. Now, I always say that it's very, very important that when you have positive self-talk, you need to understand that it needs to be based on action. So take action and really encourage yourself to take more of those. Because it's positive talk sometimes doesn't help if you don't take any action. If you're laying down in bed and saying, oh, look, I will be successful. No, if you take action, any kind of action, and you're like, okay, that's great. I will do tomorrow a little bit more. That's, of course, is a great thing. Number 13 is time management. That is, when you really have focused time and you know exactly how much time you have, you are much more organized with your time and with your input. Because now you have 1 hour for this. So that means you don't have time to really have inputs that doesn't help you to achieve the things that you want. The time management is one of the things that really allows you to really focus on things that really matter, to have those inputs that really matter. Number 14 is journaling. Again, as I said, it's very important to get a lot of inputs, but if you do not know how to use those inputs, it will never give any value. That's why people read a lot of books, but if they don't implement anything, it doesn't help. So journaling is one of the things that really, okay, what kind of inputs do I get? And I'll journal, okay, how I could potentially use those inputs. And when you put everything right on the paper, it seems so much more clearer. And you're able to get what I need to use for that input. Because I think that one of the most important parts about growth and input, we need to be very intentional. What kind of inputs do I need right now? I think that is one of the most important key in life, because we need to be very, very intentional of what kind of inputs do I need right now. Now, of course, when you nurture your mind, it's any kind of great thoughts and inputs is going to be great. But when you really want to succeed in a very, very fast pace, You need to be very intentional. What kind of input do I need right now and implement right now, right away? The last one that I want to really mention, and this is very important in every single part of life, is seek support. Seek support. So mentor, guide, and really ask what kind of input do I need? And really, mentors are most times is one of the best inputs that you can get. It could be spiritual father, it could be mentor in the business, um, it could be in skill development, it could be like so many different areas. But I truly believe it. We're supposed to have multiple mentors in our lives who are giving input. Of course, I understand that advice is very important. Be careful who you take advice from. Look how they live, and if you don't like how they live, don't take advice. But regarding life, regarding skill set is different because look into do you like what skill set do they have, and if you like, okay, let's learn how they did it. So we need to be very, very careful what kind of input and for whom you take. So I hope that you reflect as well. What kind of inputs do you have on a daily basis? And what kind of inputs do you like and what kind of inputs you don't like? And how to really manage your inputs the best, that you get the best results possible. So I hope you just win and see you tomorrow.